What's going on, guys? Jared here. This is the Run with Tobe podcast. I'm sitting here with Andrew. We are on episode 20. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Cool. So what's going on, Andrew?
Not much, man. We're on the dub special of the Run with Tobe podcast, huh?
Do people still say that, rolling on dubs?
I guess so. I remember I actually did subscribe to that magazine back in the
Dubs,
day.
yeah. It was a cool car magazine. Right?
I was like super into cars, and now I realize like spending like $12,000 on a set of rims and some tires
or more
with all the damn potholes and shit like that around LA doesn't make any sense. But
do you remember when it was cool to have your car like super low?
Yep.
And then at some point it became cool to have your car, well, at least in the South, it became cool to have your car
have it lifted
really high. Yeah, but with like giant rims.
Yeah.
Not just on a lift kit, but with giant rims. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I always hated that look. I always thought it was better lower to the ground. The tires like tucked up into tucked near the fender.
Oh yeah.
I never got that.
Yeah,
like
I was like
old school Monte Carlo with like 24-inch rims, like, and it's all like it's not tucked
painted like a
that.
NASCAR or like candy or.
I always thought the Dubs badge, though. Did you know they had a badge that they put on cars?
Yeah. Yep.
I always thought that was cool. That was always like something I wanted to aspire to have 20-inch rims. Anyway,
funny.
So we're on episode 20 now.
Yeah, we're on episode 20, rolling on dubs. Cool. All right, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and make sure you tell a friend about the Run with Tobe podcast. You can also follow us on social at Run with Tobe. Had to get that shameless plug in there like we always do. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it. What have you been currently obsessing about?
Yeah, so I'm going to revisit an earlier obsession, maybe. But I'm going to talk about the Starbucks app again today. We've talked about it
3 times.
Multiple
this will be number
times.
3, right? Yeah.
The reason why I brought it up today was because as I was kind of putting the notes together for this podcast, I got an email, my phone, and I saw this email about bonus star hopscotch.
Uh-oh.
And so what it is basically it's a game that you play to get bonus stars in the Starbucks app.
Okay.
And so you click on this email and it takes you to this pretty awesome webpage. It's not inside the app. It's an actual like webpage. And on it, and we'll upload the screenshots to the, in the show notes. But when you look at it, it's like a hopscotch board. And when you finish one item on the board, it moves you forward to the next item. So like the first item is like buy 2 items at any time during the day, and you get 10 bonus stars, and then you jump on to the next like hopscotch part.
Do you have to finish the entire board in one day?
No, you don't. You don't. It's a month-long thing. It's a 30-day long thing. And it's kind of like choose your own path. So you can go like one way or the other way. And if you go one way, the next challenge is like a little more challenging. It's like buy 3 drinks after like 2 p.m., right? Over the next 30-day period. And then if you do that, then you move forward in the next one. And it's another challenge. And you keep like re-upping on points basically. And I thought this was super cool because number one, like the UI UX of it is when you actually load the hopscotch thing, it's super cool. It looks like a real hopscotch board. It's interactive. And it's it got me thinking again, like, how do I move forward on this board? So I actually like bookmarked the actual hopscotch page in my iPhone app or my Safari or Google Chrome or whatever I was using. And I just realized that once again, like Starbucks got me to open their email, to click on their email, and to register for this stupid game so they can get more points to get more coffee in the morning, which already that app has gotten me back and forth to buy a lot more coffee than Starbucks than I normally do. So it's just another example of, really great email marketing, and then tying that together with a really cool kind of like brand experience, if you will.
Interactive.
A little interactive experience. So it's like taking email marketing, and it's, again, the importance of getting someone to opt in to your whole email list is you can now push in for like cool little promotions and cool little experiences, interactive things like this to people with because you have a captive audience.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's unfortunately for my wallet, hasn't been doing a lot of good for it, but I'm on my way to getting those damn stars. So that's it.
Okay, question. Have you ever played a real game of hopscotch?
No, not. I can't even remember in my childhood if I actually played hopscotch.
I don't think I ever did. Foursquare was like a big thing.
Foursquare, I played Foursquare.
Yeah, right? With the ball.
Yeah, with the ball,
you pass the ball around.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a big thing in our
hopscotch.
Like, but hopscotch, nope, I definitely jumped into the double dutch, little jump rope.
Yeah, I
did that.
I watched. I wasn't a participant. I watched. Shit, you're right. I don't think I've ever played hopscotch.
Yeah, I've never played. And if you guys have ever played, make sure you leave us a comment below because I'd love to hear some stories about hopscotch.
I'm almost thinking like when I think of hopscotch at like some super hipster bar that serves like PBR.
Yeah.
And like that's like the number one game.
For whatever reason, I can never not associate hopscotch with butterscotch. So I always think of the candy. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway.
That is weird, dude.
But that's cool. Yeah, so that's cool. So yeah, I mean, obviously they're taking on the form and following the trends of like games and interaction to get people kind of excited about new products.
I mean, and you can earn up to like 400 points, which is the equivalent of like 4 free drinks.
Okay.
But you probably got to spend like $400 to get those 400 points or whatever.
That's crazy. We should do like a math.
I was thinking of
like the math behind how much an actual star is actually worth.
To get to the first like hopscotch, the first square, it's like $8.
Wow.
You got to buy like 2 drinks, and let's just say every drink is like $3 or $4,
right?
Maybe. So
wow.
Yeah, they've probably done the math.
Starbucks should do their own ICO.
Yeah, seriously, right? The Bucks coin or
the something
SB
like that,
coin or some
mermaid
shit like
coin,
that, right?
or yeah.
What about you?
Cool, man. I've been on this whole kick of like, we talked about vlogging, we talked about YouTube's content, and the thing that I've been kind of diving into more is live streaming. We did touch about live streaming on a few episodes, either a couple episodes ago, or anyway, we talked about Be At TV, one of the old school players in like live streaming music events type thing. But just live streaming in general has kind of got my attention, and I came across this game called HQ Trivia, and it's kind of like one of those trivia games that you would see like a game show on TV, except anybody with the app can join in and participate. And I think it was about a month ago, they had a game, and I think the prize was like $250,000 for the grand prize, which is crazy, right? That's crazy. Any game show with that
it's
high
like
of a purse.
the new publisher sweepstakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Or the new like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Yeah, it's like a new version of that, right? But this one had 2.3 million viewers. I don't know if that was all the people playing, but it had 2.3 million viewers. So people on the app, like interacting, chatting, or whatever with this game show.
Who's playing the game?
You are. So
okay, so you're playing. It's like
it's a trivia game. So they ask a bunch of questions, and
everyone answers them.
Yeah, everybody answers them,
right.
And as you answer them, you get higher up in this pyramid, and then whoever
like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Exactly.
Kind of. Yeah, got it. Okay. So
it's along those lines. But it got me, kind of thinking more along the lines of like, where's live streaming going? Obviously it's a huge thing on Twitch. Twitch is like killing, Amazon and Twitch are killing the live streaming like market as far as like, especially in the video gameplay area. They're taking kind of a ton of watchers from YouTube, a ton of channels from YouTube also, because they're giving the creators better ways to monetize, things like that. And they're not paying you like 3 cents, per ad on AdSense. So they're actually paying, at a higher rate. If you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can subscribe to a channel of your liking. Each month you can change it. And that $4.99 that you subscribe gets paid out through Amazon. You don't see it in your subscription, but Amazon pays it to that channel. So they're just making it a lot more incentive for creators to be continually live streaming on Twitch, which it's opening up a whole new avenue of different things. Obviously, this trivia thing is huge, and it got me thinking, like, in the future, will we be watching things like the Super Bowl, and instead of halftime shows, will there be like a trivia game live in the middle of like the halftime of the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
Things like that. So or maybe when it's like New Year's, you're watching the ball drop, and in Times Square, there's a huge trivia game live casting on all the screens that are available. And everybody there can participate. And of course, everybody around the world can participate. So there's like these huge avenues that are going to open up through live streaming that I think are really interesting. And yeah, it's crazy. One story I heard was there's this Instagram influencer who live streams, and I don't know her name, so I might have to do some research, but she live streams from her Instagram page shopping. She's a fashion influencer, so she'll go out and live shop, and then people that are watching the live stream can say, "Oh, I like that." She'll buy it, upcharge it, and then ship it to them. So they're watching her shop and using her taste as she's going live, and she's kind of like interacting with these people, and it's like a whole new marketplace.
It's interesting. So first of all, I understand why live streaming is another form of capturing attention and finding a way to monetize that attention, because someone is creating their own content or they're curating content for their Twitch channel or whatever. But for me, I've never, and this is the challenge of being in marketing, is like, just because you don't like something, it doesn't mean
right.
other people don't like it.
Right.
And I kind of feel like I fit in that maybe even minority group here, where I don't really find live streaming interesting to me at all. I like video games.
Okay.
But I can't sit.
You don't
want
to sit and watch somebody play.
And watch like
right.
League of Legends. It's not interesting to me.
Right.
Or even other games that I like that I like to play. I don't know if you've heard of Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't play, but I know about it.
But so I was like, all right, this is an interesting game to maybe just like watch, and I could not get into that at all. And so the challenge for me is like, I get the platform, I get the content that goes on it, I get the creators that are on it, I get the way to monetize it, but I'm personally just not into it. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the hardest things to do in trying to figure out like solutions for our clients is like, hey, just because I don't gravitate towards this, or I don't think this is interesting, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not, right? That it's not a channel to look at. But I certainly see how much Twitch has obviously grown, and like now they have that program where they're like Twitch, I guess official partners or whatever, who are kind of, they're almost like syndicated channels.
Yeah, they're sponsored channels.
Sponsored channels, yeah. But it's clear. I think you're right. I think the idea about bringing the social component into more of these live streaming to make it more interactive, whether it's something as simple as a like button that goes across the screen, when you're live streaming, or comments, or whatever the case is. I don't know if it's going to go. I don't know if like how it will be adopted, or if you're like, if everyone's at New Year on their phone, like looking at the live stream of the live stream, trying to engage with people. But it'll be interesting to see how that model sort of evolves. Clearly, they found a way to monetize it, which is always once you find a way to monetize it, there's always interesting things that start to spill out of it. But yeah, I guess I went in a couple different directions there, but live streaming is here to stay. That's for damn sure. Right? I mean, Facebook being a pretty big investment in it when they
Twitter and Periscope, obviously Twitch with Amazon.
Yeah, so
YouTube has gone 10x on their live platform. They're really investing in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I
just see it, to me, I see it as in the future. Now you and I are both like on the older end of the millennial spectrum, so we understand, or we grew up in the time where it was like cable box or satellite box, or before TiVo, before things like that, and we would wait for pre-programmed shows to come on, and to a case we still do, like Game of Thrones, Silicon Valley, stuff like that, right?
Must see TV, TGIF.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. But outside of that stuff, a lot of people don't do that anymore, because you can go on Hulu and just watch it whenever you want, or Netflix, or whatever the platform is. And outside of live sports, there's no real live TV shows. So I think this is going to give that kind of a run for its money.
Interesting.
I still think people will always tune into live sports.
Because, like live sports just is another category for me, right? But for some reason, non-sports live streaming, I'm trying to think of where I really cared. Like even when Red Bull did that crazy promotion with that dude who jumped out of the airplane with like a fucking parachute, like I didn't really care to see it live. I was like, I'll just watch it recorded.
I was glued to that thing, man.
No, I was like, no, but I was glued to it, but I was like, I don't need to see the live stream.
Right.
I'll watch the recorded, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. So I don't know if there's anyone out there who's maybe a curmudgeon like me when it comes to live streaming
old
stuff.
person.
I'm curious to hear why, because I haven't quite figured out why it doesn't attract me anymore into the content. Good content is good content, whether it's live or not to me, you know?
Yeah. I just think that, and I won't spend too much time on this. We got to kind of get moving, but I do think that in the future, you know, where you're paying, you know, $9.99 for HBO, you know, the younger generation's like, no, I don't want to pay for that. I'm going to pay $9.99 to watch my favorite gamer. You know, so your channel, your a la carte channel selection opens up quite a bit because now you can subscribe to these crazy, you know, different, you know, it's a whole new universe of channels. So I see that going in that regard. But yeah, if you guys have any comments about live streaming, your thoughts on YouTube's live stream, Twitch's live stream, or any of the above, definitely leave us a comment below or send us an email, info@tobeagency.co. Cool. Well, we do have a little bonus section today. We got a listener question, which has been a while since we got one. So this is awesome. And I felt like this was pretty fitting. I wanted to go ahead and get this in there. I apologize ahead of time if I butcher your name, but his name is Srinivas Nambi. He's from India. And he asked, because we talked about Quora a couple episodes ago, he says, I have a Quora account with a good amount of followers, and I've recently opened my own personal blog. The blog has a minimum amount of views and followers, basically, while all his Quora information or content, I should say, is getting traction. And his question is, he's confused. Should he continue blogging or leave the blog and continue following on Quora? And I just wanted to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, it's my answer to these things is pretty simple. Own your content.
Right.
You know, part of the reason why you put a blog out there is it's your content. Regardless if you're on Facebook or Twitter or Quora or any of the other kind of social sites, you're always kind of at the whim of their own algorithm change. Or, you know, I don't think Quora is going anywhere anytime soon, but the whole damn thing decided to shut down. You just lost your following, you know? So I see it, but that's not to say that you shouldn't be building your Quora following, but I see it as use your blog or your owned content or owned media as the central place to put all your thoughts and ideas. Use Quora as a distribution channel.
Exactly.
So answer the questions, but also say, you know, if you're answering a question on Quora or engaging with people on Quora, answer the question, but then say, hey, by the way, I have a blog post that check out my blog post.
Yeah, goes a little bit deeper into this particular topic.
That goes a little bit deeper into the topic. And I see a lot of people who do that very well on the platform. And as long as I think the content is relevant, like you're not just trying to spam spam people on those questions. And it's great. Like as long as it's relevant, make sure you put a video or a blog post or a podcast or something like that in your response. But dude, thanks for reaching out. That's cool.
Awesome
We got another question in, and from all the way around the world as well. So shout out, man. And
we will link his username somewhere in here.
Yep. And I'd say definitely own your own content. Use Quora as a distribution channel for it. For sure.
Cool. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's going to take us into the main topic of today. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, tell a friend about the Run with Tobe podcast. You can find us on all social at Run with Tobe. Cool. All right, Andrew. So we are fresh off of WWDC 2018. Let's go ahead and get the highlights out of the way. iOS 12 is better. Yay. WatchOS is better. We'll go into a little bit of that. macOS is better, and it has a new dark theme, which is awesome. I'm excited about that because now I don't have to burn my eyes out when I'm working on media. And the other thing is there was no hardware, which,
that was a bummer.
There was no hardware.
Hell, dude?
No, like, well, they usually don't because this is the developer conference.
That's right.
But usually they, like last year, September's more the hardware. But last year they kind of, shed light on like, hey, this is when you're going to get, the new iMac Pro. And, they kind of hint, but they didn't do any of that. They focused solely on software, which is good because there was a lot of things that needed to be kind of fixed. iOS, the whole scandal that kind of happened the last couple months where they were like killing people's batteries and all kinds of craziness. So they kind of addressed some of that. But
how long have we been on 11 now?
Just a year. Yeah,
Has
it's a
it?
year. Yeah, I believe it's a year. Yeah. I think it's once a year they update. Yeah, if you want to watch that stuff, definitely look on YouTube. There's a ton of there's a ton of videos on everything detailed in what happened in iOS 12. But I want to get into some of more of the content stuff that they're really kind of digging into. And the first thing I want to kind of dive into, shout out to you. A couple episodes back, you'd kind of mentioned that banner ads are dying. It's a dying form, and Safari is kind of helping push the front. I'm sure Chrome is going to be doing this soon, and all the other browsers. They are now making it harder for banner ads to be targeted on websites. So they're kind of, and I forget exactly how they announce this, but they're masking your computer so you don't get these annoying pop-up ads. You don't get these annoying ads on the sidebars of websites.
So it's taking a pop-up blocker to like
the next level, right?
Like almost a firewall for your browser.
Yep. And so shout out to you for kind of like like talking about that ahead of time. But
no, it's cool. I think the technology, we always kind of went back to say like we need to do inbound marketing because technology has made things like spamming people with email, with calling, like cold calling people, all that kind of stuff, irrelevant. It's not irrelevant, but less effective,
right?
But now technology is moving so fast, and especially when it comes to privacy and data, that a lot of the original kind of, I would say, maybe not original, but let's say Web 2.0, like advertising tools that you would do on Facebook with segmentation and stuff, even now that is now getting disrupted by technology. So we talk a lot about technology on this podcast, probably because we are both nerds and we enjoy, digging into this stuff. But technology and marketing go hand in hand.
Oh yeah,
they work perfectly together, or not perfectly, but they affect each other, right?
Right.
And so, I mean, if you were at a very heavy news feed, paid digital strategy for Facebook, like we said on the previous podcast, you might want to start looking at integrations with Messenger or advertising through Messenger or stories or some of the other things that we talked about. And then they're going to find some way to block ads inside messaging.
But then email is going to make the comeback. Watch.
Yeah, dude, it always comes fucking full circle, right?
Email is going to make the comeback. I'm calling it right now.
Email never died, dude.
That's true. That's true.
Still, I told you, hopscotch.
Yeah, that's true.
Starbucks hopscotch, man.
That's true.
And quite frankly, like email still by far is one of the best converting forms of content.
Yeah.
Especially opt-in emails.
I think the opt-in part is where it really is, golden.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Because, like a lot of ads that you're hitting on stories and wherever else, you're not opting in to get those. They just kind of run up because you fit a demographic. So
exactly.
Email, you can't really do those things. So it's a little bit more personal.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see when the day that email does go away as a legit marketing tactic or tool. Like, when does it go to the way of direct mail?
Right. Cool. All right. So let's jump to the next update. I'll go through some of the smaller updates first, and then we'll get to the bigger ones. But one of the cooler updates that they did in watchOS is they've added a whole bunch of features for the health part of the watch, which is cool because that's the most important part of the watch.
I'd say so.
Other than that, it's kind of like a notification wristband, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But now they finally added the podcast app, woohoo, to the watch, which was long overdue because they had some third-party podcast app, but it's not native like the Apple podcast app.
So you can scroll through playlists and find podcasts on the watch itself.
Yeah, it'll work just like your iOS podcast app will work. So that's a big deal, especially for anybody out there that has a podcast. So that was cool. Another big, or one of the, let's get into the bigger stuff. So one of the big things that they announced is this addressing of being addicted to your phone, and Google did this in their keynote as well. They're doing all these different ways and features and setting up all these features to make the phone less addicting, make it less disturbing. So a couple of the highlights are There's a smarter do not disturb. You can set it for times now. It's not just like a blanket time. You can set it specifically for times of day. You can really like get in there and kind of tweak it so that it's turned off. Your phone is almost off, but it's not. Activity reports on your daily usage, so you can check how many times, for Andrew, how many times he's checking Twitter, and for me, probably checking Instagram or checking the subscriptions on Run with Tobe. But it'll tell you all those different levels, and it'll report all these new activity features. So that's cool. So it is cool.
I think that's super important, man. I mean, honestly, this whole addiction to the smartphone thing is a real problem.
It is a real
and
thing.
I'm actually mindful of it myself. It's something that I actually try to make a pretty conscious effort, like 30 minutes before I go to bed, to try to just put the fucking thing away.
Yeah.
And then even 30 minutes when I wake up,
I don't.
Like, I can't do it, man. Like I cheat on it some days, but I mean, it's
so
really
bad.
hard. I just want to check all my notifications.
Right.
And that's the worst thing to wake up to, man.
Yeah.
Like, after.
The wake up part, like I try to make it a point. So when I'm with the baby, like I try to make it a point that I put my phone like far away so that I'm not going to it, so I don't feel the urge to check it.
But your watch is on.
I actually, when I get home, the first thing I do is take off my watch and put it on the charger. One, because it doesn't stay charged, but but two, no, I do take it off because of that reason. I don't want it. And we've talked about, like, I go take the dogs on a walk. I'll leave the phone so I can just have me and the dogs, and that's kind of like my meditation.
Yep.
But yeah, I really try hard to kind of like break free of it. But then, dude, first thing in the morning, it's like you roll over, pick up the phone, and it's like bombarded with notifications. Like, I gotta read these emails. Like, I don't want
to make a conscious effort before I go to sleep to actually like physically pick it up out of my room and put it somewhere else. Dude, it came later this time.
Damn it, dude. So. There it is again.
But I make a conscious effort to at night try to just leave it out of my room. But I think all in all, like it's pretty good that they're trying to do something or put some technology around this problem. I'm telling you, man, the next business I'm starting is a social media rehab clinic. That is like, that's the next business idea for me, man.
You called it.
I'm going to make sure that insurance companies pay for it. I'm going to make sure that it's a true mental health condition, and then I'm going to start that business. So anyone out there who wants to start one of these places, get at me.
That's funny, but yeah, I mean, it's funny. We laugh about it and joke about it, but it's definitely a real thing.
And it's tough, man, because like I'll be honest, like I'm pretty jaded about social media from time to time. It's like, you're researching influencers, you're looking at, but there's also a lot of people who aren't influencers who think they're influencers, which is
guilty.
So that's what you're holding.
That's what that's what I'm spending my time doing.
But I do think that we as human beings tend to consume too much of a good thing.
Sure.
It's just human nature,
Yep. But as marketers, we tend to ruin good things. Right.
Yeah, we talked about that too before, but I think ultimately addressing this is it's kind of the elephant in the room right now. And especially with marketing, because we need to use these as tools to reach people, but at what point is it too much? Right. So I don't know, that could be a topic for a whole nother podcast.
We'll note that down.
How do we find the balance, between all this? But it's good. It's good to have some technology in place that. Yep. Yeah,
it's good that the large companies who are kind of, I'm sure when they created these devices, they never thought it was going to be like that,
Yeah. So bringing awareness to the problem.
Yeah, it's good that they're leading the charge.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. All right, let's jump to the next thing. We got a few minutes left. So next big thing is AR Kit 2. I'm super psyched about this. They announced a new file format called USDZ. And basically this is a like really simplistic 3D file format. Not simple on the back end, but simple on the front end for people to use. And it allows you to use immersive design tools. It's native to Adobe Cloud. So you can use Adobe, you can use Photoshop, you can use Adobe Dimension, which is Adobe's like native 3D software. And you can create these, I wouldn't say they're super high quality, but they're decent quality graphics in 3D. You can, use 3D models and use these for AR experiences. So if we wanted to create this water bottle, we could do that. And now we can have a way to create it and get it up on the platform to use in ARKit. It's native to ARKit. So that's cool. So that's going to push AR content creation a lot further, a lot faster.
Yeah.
And it's opening up, to people who don't have access to crazy, 3D tools or,
Yep.
the visual effects industry or, whatnot. So, I'm pretty excited. They're leading the charge pretty hard on AR, which is awesome. They obviously have probably one of the better AR systems between hardware and software in the iPhone 10. So it's pretty exciting, man. They demoed another AR experience, which is called shared experiences, I think is what they're calling it. But basically, it's multi-user AR. So we could be in the same environment at the same time, looking through our devices, playing a game simultaneously together. On the outside, and I think I'm going to link some videos because it looks hilarious. On the outside, if you're just watching people play, it's just people running around a table looking at nothing because you can't see it without the phone. Yeah. But in the experience, it's actually pretty cool. So that's a big step using multiplayer AR, cool. Which is where a lot of people kind of predicted AR to go in the future. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then the last big thing that I kind of want to touch on, we'll kind of end on this note, is are we seeing Apple go into a content play or moving into the world of content? And the reason why I'm kind of asking this question, and maybe even like it's a little bit loaded, is because of all of these small changes that they've made over the last couple of years and technology updates. It's really pushing them into the conversation. We already know that they're doing their own like high quality content, like TV shows, things like that, through Apple TV, but they just partnered with Charter Spectrum. So now Charter Spectrum is going to be a native app on the Apple TV moving forward. So you no longer have to like connect your, have a Charter Spectrum account with your box, and then you connect that and download an app and then use that. It's going to be all native inside of the inside of Apple TV. And that, I believe they're the first one to kind of really bring that like native on board. A cable company like Netflix has been coming on the Roku and things like that for a while, but natively, this is like the first cable company to kind of jump on ship with, a streaming platform or a streaming device, I should say. And then last year they added this app called Clips, and Clips is for everybody who's never seen it out there because it doesn't get a lot of attention. Yeah. It kind of failed, I think. But it's an app that you can use in your phone, and it does a lot of the same things that stories, social media apps, Instagram stories does. Instagram, like putting stickers, filters, things like that. It does some things that Snapchat.
Basic editing. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Basic editing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It gives you all the creation of those content of your content in an app. It didn't really take off, but it just feels like they're kind of flexing their muscles. And another announcement that they made was now you can FaceTime with up to 32 people in a group FaceTime call, which is, we've seen all the messaging apps, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Instagram now go to this like, FaceTime style chat where everybody can kind of jump in and do like a group hangout, like a Google Hangout. So I guess my question to you is, do you feel like they're moving into the content world, or where do you see them going with all this?
Honestly, I don't know if it's a good idea for them to go in the content world.
They're kind of a small fish in that realm, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're making a concerted effort. I don't think it's a guiding part of their business strategy. I've always seen Apple as the conduit to everything, whether it's getting people connected to the internet through mobile, right, and getting mass adoption of that, or getting people to use their hardware to enable cool apps like Instagram or Snapchat or whatever the case is. I kind of see Apple as, and they did kind of I'll be honest, I think it was a half-assed effort at trying to really do the content play.
Yeah,
like what Netflix or
well.
Hulu is doing, or even Amazon for that matter. And maybe they realized like, hey, we're a hardware software company, and all the content creators and all that stuff out there, they need our hardware and software to work a certain way, like with ARKit, for example, in order for them to build really cool experiences or whatever the case is for their brands. So for me, I don't think that they're trying to make a concerted effort, to try and build content, to be honest. I think they always provide the infrastructure and the conduit to the content. But as maybe they should just focus on what they do best, which is building hardware,
building the best machines. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel, I guess I feel a little different about that. I feel like they are, because I feel like that at some point, like, they just need attention.
But aren't they getting attention already from all the cool partnerships they have with other apps?
Sure.
Or people who are putting content?
Yeah, absolutely. But Google has its hardware. They do the internet the best, right? Whatever application that is, they do the internet the best. But we've seen them dabble into hardware. They've gone into like phones and tablets, and they created a whole operating system for all these other phones. So I see like Apple kind of going in the not reverse direction, but the opposite direction now. Like, they're like, oh, well, this is where the future is. Obviously we need hardware to do these things, and we'll continue to do that. But why are they getting into cars? Why are they getting, I just think that wherever attention is going, they kind of are moving on the landscape with the attention. So I think like maybe the Clips app didn't fail internally. We see it as a failure because it didn't catch fire publicly, but maybe they're like, okay, well, we needed that to test to see what people, are really interested in. Or, I don't know. I see them I think they have to make that shift, because that's just where everything is going. Like, if they want to keep up with Amazon makes its own hardware. Like, if they want to keep up with these things, they kind of have to. Like, Amazon clearly has the attention in a certain realm. Google has their attention in a certain realm. And then, obviously Apple has had attention, but at some point we're going to hit that diminishing return on hardware, and computers are kind of, it's going to be a different flavor, but for the most part, like we could line up 3 different laptops right now that are around the same price from different manufacturers, and they'll be about the same, right? You can do the same things on them. So yeah. I think it just comes down to like, in the future, that's why they're investing. I think they put out like $1 billion to create their own content for Apple TV, right?
But that's like nothing.
Sure,
like, dude, they have like $230 billion of
sure.
cash.
But if they want to keep that and move forward with it,
yeah.
So I mean, we're obviously speculating. We don't have any insight.
Yeah, no, I just think that they build the conduits for everyone to plug their shit into, whether it's the iTunes store, whether it's the App Store. Whether it's they build an ecosystem for people to create
right
in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So they have their ecosystem. So at some point, what's the next step for that ecosystem? Is it a content play where like you have to have all the Apple gear to get to this?
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, yeah. I'm speculating way into the future. If anybody out there definitely has some thoughts on that, please let us know, because it's an interesting topic. We could kind of keep going on forever, but I think we'll leave it at there today.
Cool.
All right, guys. Once again, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and follow us at Run with Toby, and we'll see you next week.